What's up, guys? Smackdown 12/8/23. Full disclosure, full transparency. The show just got over 60 seconds ago, but due to a lot of traveling this weekend, this is the only time I can cut the review. So if there's any injuries we find out about, any news that goes on top of these matches, we're just not privy to that information right now. Usually I like to sleep on these notes, wake up with a fresh coffee, a clear dome piece, ready to rock out the review. I just don't have the time this weekend, much like last week. So again, show just got over. I'm working with what I just witnessed, but I do have my notes ready to rock. BC's fully amplified. I say we get going, man. CM Punk returning to the blue brand after a long absence, many years. Cody Rhodes showing up to the blue brand again because brand split. And 2 U.S. title tournament matches, Asuka and Charlie. What happened in that match? We got to talk about it. Karrion Kross, dude. What are they doing with Karrion? In a main event, can LA Knight and Randy Orton coexist? It's a lot to discuss, a lot to go over. I ain't got a lot of time, but I got enough time. So if you don't mind, grab your beverage, kick your feet up. Smackdown 12/8/23. Let's get amplified. So United States tourney match, round 1, kicks us off for the night. Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee. Dominic Mysterio is at ringside because brand split. Referee Jessica Carr is calling the action. The crowd was not into this match from the jump, even chanting JBL's name. JBL was at ringside on commentary. He doesn't really miss too many of these tribute shows to the troops, and he did not miss this one. So the crowd was more into getting JBL to acknowledge them than they were into the performance of Dragon Lee and Escobar. No harm, no foul. This match did not last long. Escobar hits the driver finisher. Dragon Lee's flat on his back looking up at the lights. He is pinned 1, 2, 3. Escobar advances in the tournament, one step closer to a U.S. Championship title reign. Dragon Lee is left flat on his back. Dominic Mysterio gets in the ring afterwards, kind of circles him like Brock Lesnar or a shark in the water. Doesn't do anything, just kind of holds up his title, and then he kicks rocks. He hits the bricks on his way to NXT's event tomorrow night to take on Dragon Lee. Dominic Mysterio could have avoided this whole detour to SmackDown. He didn't do anything. So the whole thing was kind of odd. I was expecting more between them because Dominic Mysterio versus Dragon Lee at an NXT Saturday night event doesn't really pique my curiosity. As far as Dragon Lee does or goes, period, I'm still trying to be sold on Dragon Lee. I know a lot of you guys, or at least a good portion of you guys, maybe not a lot, but a good portion of you guys, you really like Dragon Lee. So I try to go out of my way and try to search for something that I'm missing that'll help me connect with the Dragon Lee a little bit more. This did not do the trick. The match was about 5 minutes tops. The loss was simplistic. There has to be more than he's a good wrestler, right? Everybody today is a good wrestler, even a great wrestler. Man, I hope I get there like a lot of you guys with Dragon Lee. I'm not there yet, and this booking, kind of odd to me. Cody Rhodes, actually, before I keep going, Escobar, on the other hand, just on his entrance, it's amazing what just a turn can do, right? Or just a little twist in your character. A slight effect. And Escobar is really coming into his own. Escobar is really gaining that confidence that he just did not have on the main roster. Even with the LWO, it's like he just didn't fit in. Escobar is finding himself, and sometimes it just takes that turn. Now, do I think this happened way too fast? Yes. The LWO was just established a few months ago. There was no reason under the sun that Escobar should be turning this quickly. It could have had a way bigger and better effect in the future. But they rushed it, And this is the best we got. I just feel you could get many better storylines out of Escobar if we waited. But at least the silver lining is that this is a better version of Escobar, whether it was done too early or much later on. I think we all could agree this is a better Escobar. Moving on, Cody Rhodes is out next. We see a great tribute to the troops video package featuring Jonathan Cena. In all the years that John Cena has been doing this event, this was just a John Cena love letter to the troops and WWE's love letter to Jonathan Cena and all he did for the troops. That's all this was. This was a John Cena heavy video package. I didn't know if it was more for the troops or more for John Cena. It was funny, but Cody Rhodes introduces that video package, and then Cody introduces the U.S. Army drill team, and they do a bunch of like things with their rifles, and it's a cool little performance. But this is WWE. It is pro wrestling, so BC was fully expecting Shinsuke Nakamura to storm the entranceway and deliver Kinshasa to the Army General. Come on, man. BC, that's ultimate disrespect. You can't do that. Okay. It's pro wrestling, bro. You can do anything in pro wrestling. The rules are out the window, right? You got fucking Shinsuke taking out the Army General with a Kinshasa. That's pretty damn entertaining. It could be a wrestler, right? It's entertainment, right? How many actors play military in movies? All right, so you have a wrestler acting like he's an Army General. He takes a Kinshasa. It's pro wrestling. We can have fun with it. But Shinsuke is tied down to the red brand. Cody Rhodes doesn't have to apply to those rules, evidently. But it was good to see Cody Rhodes. He didn't do much, like I said, other than just kind of pump up the crowd at hand, do some tribute to the troop business. No real mention of Shinsuke Nakamura, no continuation of the storyline, nothing like that. So that was pretty much hour one. It ended with Karrion Kross. Hour one ended with Karrion Kross and Bob Lashley. This was a U.S. title tourney match, round one. And this, again, would end hour one. It was a quick match, guys. Just a few minutes in length, and Lashley just pins Kross rather simplistically to advance in this tournament. For Bob Lashley, cool, right? When Bob was going up the entranceway, the Profits come out like Lashley usually does for the Profits and just holds their hand up. The Profits did that for Bob Lashley. So it's clear they don't really know what they're doing with this group. The booking is so left field one day, then they're playing right field the next, then they're in center field, then they're playing the infield by the weekend, right? They're literally at second base, then they're playing third. They're at a different position every single week we see this group. And that's why I think fans can't really get on board with what they are. They don't know what they are. So the Profits come out, they hold up Lashley's hands, and okay, thanks for coming, Lashley. Good luck the rest of the way in this tournament. Now for Kross is left there flat on his back looking up at the lights, but it's even worse than that, right? I mean, Kross is booking from the jump with Paul Levesque McMahon taking over anyway. Paul Levesque McMahon just said, sit at catering, we'll call you when we have something for you. And then he finally gets the call and he's ready to rock, and he just loses this tournament match. It's just very odd booking. Like, why would you even put Kross in this situation? And it's clear that he's not one of Levesque McMahon's like top dudes. I get it. But you still have to protect these dudes, especially with somebody who has a presentation like Kross, who's got the manager, who has all the bells and whistles with his entrance. You want to protect that, because some would say that's all he has. Now, I'm a fan of Karrion Kross, a supporter of Kross, so I know there's more to him than just that. But a lot of people say that he's just the bells and whistles. They even put that in an NXT story many moons ago. I believe that was Adam Cole. And Cole looked right at him during a promo and said, all you are when you take away the bells and the whistles and the entrance and the manager, you strip it all away, you're just bare minimum at best. Slight paraphrase, but he basically said you're only bells and whistles, and a lot of people kind of jumped on that. So knowing that, it's very important that you go the extra mile to protect Kross. Not only are they not doing that, they're failing to even book him half properly. It's very interesting. It's very sad to see what happened to Karrion Kross. Moving on to the second hour. We start off with CM Punk. Man, he came a little bit more a little bit more amplification than a couple of Mondays ago. Punk, there was a funny moment right when he was coming down, too. This fan had the world championship, Sethington Rollins' world championship. It was a replica. Again, this is not Roman's Universal. This was the new championship. And Punk stops and he just looks at it, and he really spends some time looking at this championship. And then he just looks at the camera like, obviously that was to Sethington Rollins. So that was a pretty funny moment from the jump. Rollins talks several names here, several things come out of this dude's mouth. One interesting note, he did mention Kevin Owens, and he references the Brawl Out incident with the Young Bucks. Of course, he does not mention them by name. For those of you that don't know the backstory, real quickly, I'll just say this. Owens is really good buddies with the Bucks. Owens had a little bit to say about that incident, and it wasn't in favor of Punk. It was obviously with his boys, Matt and Nick Jackson. So a lot of people know that there's a little bit of a rift there between Owens and Punk. So he brings up Owens, and then he immediately talks about the Brawl Out incident and how it's 2023. You can't go around punching people backstage, he says. That's insane. Interestingly enough, he bumped into Kevin Owens later in the show. Part of the script, he was bumping into Owens. He was looking for Adam Pearce's office, or maybe Nick Aldis. No, I think it was Pearce, because Pearce had an office there too last night, right? Or tonight. Maybe it was Aldis. But he was looking for one of the general managers, and Kevin Owens actually points him in the direction. But not before Owens looks at his fist first. So that was pretty funny. And then when Punk walks away, Owens just kept looking at him. So they're going to set something up, right? That was just a seed planted for the future. And then CM Punk has a message for Roman Reigns. He says, just remember. He says, don't forget, actually. He says, don't forget, Roman. He says, he was my wise man way before he was your wise man. Of course, talking Paul Heyman, another seed planted for a Roman feud down the line. I like this because he was just planting little seeds for so many incredible stories to be planted in the future. Or cemented. They're being planted now. It'll be cemented going forward. But he was my wise man before he was your wise man. Of course, I mean, the layers of story that can stem off of just that one sentence, right? A big part of the story can Roman trust Paul Heyman? Almost like the Brock Lesnar thing, but even more amplified because CM Punk actually talks. No offense to Brock. He's just not that great on the mic. But Punk can handle his own part of the storyline. Paul Heyman is a whole nother entity. And then you got Roman really coming into his own on the mic as a heel. So now you have all these moving parts. And if Roman cannot fully trust Paul Heyman, and CM Punk is the ultimate instigator and button pusher, Roman could completely go off the deep end. He's already playing more of a paranoid character anyway, Roman, trying to protect everything that he built on his island. And you start to see recently, man, Roman is really going off the deep end a little bit. CM Punk can help push him off that last ledge. Such a good line. Don't forget, he was my wise man before he was your wise man. Simplistic, but so damn effective. He then brings up Sethington Rollins, but not by name. Not by name. He says, and I quote, he doesn't want to put any stock in someone that is not even the man of his own household. Of course, not just a diss to Sethington, but basically saying that Becky Lynch is not just the man in character on wrestling. She's actually the man of his household. So, Sethington, man, it just got volleyed right back to Sethington. I put up 2 uploads earlier today. A lot of you guys might not know that. I know at least one of them didn't really get pushed by the platform. But 2 uploads went up today. A lot of Bobby Lashley's comments on CM Punk and how the locker room views Punk. And the first upload we put up today was Seth Rollins, and he had a lot to say recently about Punk. So we had a really good discussion earlier today. Hopefully you guys were able to catch those uploads. But this was obviously Punk having enough, so he sends some jabs back. This is going to volley back to Rollins. We'll see if they do anything with these two on Monday. CM Punk is really promoting Monday Night Raw and how he's going to make a decision on Monday night. Seth Rollins was told by Adam Pearce that Punk is coming and he wants him to sign exclusively to Raw. I don't know, man. I would do something with those two. I know there's real animosity, but you can make this into such an epic work. And we all will benefit in the process. But that was a really good line. And it wasn't done yet with Sethington Rollins. So after he says that, the crowd would break into a huge "oh" chant, or sing along. The whole I don't even know how. I mute it every time Seth comes out. No offense to Seth, but I just can't do that damn sing along. It's nauseating, so I put it on mute, and I pretty much wait until it's done or I think it's done. And if I unmute it and it's still going, I press mute real fast. But the crowd starts doing the Seth Rollins sing-along. So Punk says, and I quote, "Keep it going." No. Keep it going. Because that's the only thing he's got working for him. That's the only thing he's got, he said. In other words, you take the sing-along away, and Seth Rollins is still the same old Seth Rollins that a lot of you guys just don't even give a damn about. Now, there's not a lot of falsity in that statement. There's just not. Seth Rollins was kind of fledgling in the mid-card, like just swapping the U.S. title with Austin Theory and Bob Lashley for the longest time until he got that sing-along, right? And then it kind of pushed him toward the top. Maybe Punk's right. If you take the sing-along away, are people really giving a damn about Rollins? I don't know, but it's a great line to further those two in their feud, man. Really good. Punk says keep it going. That's all he has. He then says that everyone is talking about this is right back to Cody Rhodes more than anybody. He says everyone is talking about finishing their story. Well, I'm the monkey wrench in all of their plans. I'm back for one reason. Looks right at the camera B, and he says, I'm here for one reason. Main eventing WrestleMania. And he does a mic drop. So this is where the discussions that we've had so many times already, and we have to have them now and going forward. Does Cody Rhodes get removed from his spot, even if he is the one to take on Roman and Punk takes on Rollins? The question is Rollins and Punk becoming more over than Cody and Roman Part 2? Because Cody and Roman Part 2 can never live up to Part 1. That was a botch. You can only hope to get some of that aura, presence, electricity back. Just some of that lightning in a bottle. It'll never happen, but you're hoping to get that atmosphere back a little bit. But you're never going to recreate what they did in Part 1. That's like trying to ask Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at 26 to do better than you did at 25. You can't. 25 was a masterpiece that can't be touched. So it's one of those situations where has the Seth Rollins and CM Punk match, just the thought of it, the storyline, before it's even a storyline. The work, we're all talking about this is all a work. Most of this is not yet a work. They're just going off the cuff, planting seeds on their own. It's going to become a work. When all of this is presented together, is the fans, is the company going to go, wait a second, this is more money than Cody Roman? Who main events night 2? Guys, it's a real discussion. CM Punk might have just bumped Cody. Cody could still get Roman and go for the title. If they don't have Roman go for Hulk Hogan's 1474, then it would have to be Cody, you would think. But is it going to be overshadowed by night 2 of WrestleMania with CM Punk taking Rollins' title? And Cody is like, how was I on Saturday night? How was I on Saturday night 1 of Mania? How am I the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens tag title win like 39? Man, it's interesting. I mean, the chance for Punk, the anticipation, the talk that is out there for Rollins and Punk, it is at another level right now. Interesting. Very interesting. But he says, I'm here for one thing, main eventing Mania. He even made reference to throwing 29 guys over that top rope. And he'll earn his spot to Mania. Again, does that mean Cody does not win Rumble? Because Punk is winning that. And then Punk maybe chooses Rollins And then you could have a million ways where Cody would still choose Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes, he's got a big issue now, man. It was smooth sailing until CM Punk rolled into town. And now there's a big discussion that needs to be had within those walls. Punk, Cody. Moving on, Asuka versus Charlie Flair. Pre-match, Munchkin, Zelina Vega, Bianca Belair, and Shotzi chase off Io and Kairi. This was just oddly done because Bayley was like excluded from her homies. So she was told to stay in the back. And of course, Dakota Kai cannot... Dakota can't do anything. So she was pretty much rendered useless. So you just had Io and Kairi, and you have 4 of these faces, Shotzi, Belair, Zelina Vega, Munchkin, and they all just kind of chase them off. So then they really, Michael Cole, Kevin Patrick, JBL, they're really pushing that this is a straight one-on-one match now. And they're promoting it like a WrestleMania rematch. WrestleMania from years ago. And don't forget, they've had 67 rematches since. Don't act like this is the first rematch since Mania, dude. And then on top of that, guys, Asuka pins Charlie in straight up 5 minutes via an awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Faroot roll-up. A simplistic roll-up in 5 minutes. Now, on one hand, you say, well, BC, at least it wasn't the other way, right? Charlie could have rolled up Asuka. Yeah, you are right, actually. Right? Beggars can't be choosers. At least it was Asuka. So I'm down with that decision. But if you saw this match, what do you do? Charlie and Asuka get 5 minutes. Now, some people will say an audible was called because Charlie got a little banged up in the match. So BC was an audible. Not really. If you saw how much time the main event got, it was just over 10 minutes. So I really think they were just pressed on time. I do think that maybe Punk did go over on his time. So maybe that cut into it a bit. But they weren't gelling anyway. In fact, there was a moonsault. Guys, I know Charlie Flair misses every single moonsault. It's a running joke now, right? It's a joke in the wrestling business, like Tony Khan and another major announcement when ratings are bad. It's a running joke. When Charlie attempts her moonsault, how far off is she going to be? Is she even going to get a hand on somebody? But even though we joke about it, it's comedy. She really does have to stop doing it because it's exposing the business too much. And she's going to end up hurting her opponent. Now you're saying, well, BC, if she's totally missing the opponent, then what does it matter, right? How can they really get hurt? Because they're throwing their whole body off timing. They're expecting her to be in the vicinity of where they are. She's going so far deep into the front row that they now have to twist last second. They're going to put torque on something, and I'm telling you right now, man, they're going to blow something out. Achilles, a hammy, an ACL. It's going to happen, guys. It's those subtle movements when you just tweak a little. That's what injures a lot of these wrestlers and just athletes. That's what does it. It's the sudden tweaks. And these wrestlers, I see it time and time again, they're really trying to catch Charlie, but she's so far off. She never comes close. I'll try to, in post-edit, I'll try to put up just some photos to see you guys the sequence. Like when she jumps, this is from tonight too. I'll try to put the actual photos of this moonsault from tonight's match with Asuka. I'll show you her launching point. I'll show you where she is midair. And I'll show you how she lands. And you guys will see she's not even close to Asuka. If she touches Asuka, it's literally just like her hand is touching Asuka. And I'm pretty sure that the photos will show you that it's only because Asuka is stretching her arms out so that Charlie can touch Asuka. In other words, if Asuka isn't even having an arm out, Charlie's not even touching Asuka. And this is one of the first times where Michael Cole had to acknowledge it. Cole actually live says she didn't get all of it, but she got enough. Michael, she got none of it. You can't even sugarcoat that. She literally, once again, got none of it. And this is what I mean about just athletes or people that can do flips and dives. That does not make you a pro wrestler. It doesn't make you a good pro wrestler because you can flip and dive. Because you can do a moonsault. These days, a 6-year-old on a trampoline does double backflip moonsaults. Awesome. That doesn't make them professional wrestlers. If you're going to do a moonsault, connect. Find a way to be good at what you do. And if a moonsault is a big part of your arsenal, find a way. I don't know what that way is. But find a way to either connect it or don't do it. Tiffany Stratton can teach you. Go to Tiffany. Just because she's a rookie, swallow the pride. Go to Tiffany Stratton. Go to Io. Io is right there in your locker room. Io will show you how to connect a moonsault. But it's really, guys, it's really becoming damaging. It's so hard to watch, and tonight was just one of those moments where, man, if you're watching with somebody that doesn't really watch pro wrestling, but you're trying to get them into it, right? Check this match out, man. Asuka's really badass. Charlie, that's actually Ric Flair's daughter, and they're like, oh, Ric Flair, yeah. And then they just see this move that doesn't even touch the opponent. And Asuka has to sell it like she just got ran over by a monster truck, of course. Asuka does a wondrous job selling it. It almost would have been better if she didn't and called the audible knowing she didn't get touched. Just get up and start wailing away on Charlie. The only reason that wouldn't work is because Charlie would not sell. She can't stand selling, and she doesn't like to go off script of the match. So she would totally no-sell the audible that should be called. So you can't win with Charlie sometimes. It's rough, but that's who this company wants to push nonstop for over 8 years now, 9 years. This one female, when there's so many other better actual wrestlers, they just want to push Charlie Flair. It's exhausting. And this was another Charlie Flair performance for the ages. Or not so much. Anyway, Asuka does win, though. But it was nothing of relevance. It was not a grand stage. It was just a thrown match in the middle of SmackDown. They gave them 5 minutes in a fruit roll-up victory. That'll shut everybody up. See, you said Asuka never beats Charlie. Where was that at Mania several years ago when she was undefeated? She won the Rumble, and all she wanted was one championship. No, that doesn't fit. Trying to beat her father 16 times. Main event was Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa versus L.A. Knight and Randy Orton. Cool part before the match, Punk walks up to Orton and L.A. Knight. It's pretty, just one of those sights to see, Orton, L.A. Knight, and Punk. Like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't really think of that. Orton's been gone for so long, so to see him there with somebody new like L.A. Knight, who just... When I say new, I mean to WWE's main roster, top tier star scene. LA Knight when Orton left, LA Knight was not this. So to see them together, and then to see Punk, who's a blast from the past, from a decade ago, he showed, and it's just wow, what a shot that, just hang on that for a second. And they did. They just let it, nobody said a word for a few seconds. CM Punk wished him luck. Randy said, "Are you ready for tonight?" Knight says, "Yeah," and then walks off. Knight and Randy Orton do take care of the heels, and the troops are sent home happy, right? You kind of knew this would be a little bit more simplistic. LA Knight, Randy Orton, they coexisted tonight. Show goes off the air. So a lot of people were excited for this SmackDown. I know the last couple of uploads I put up today, a lot of you guys were saying, man, can't wait for SmackDown. To a degree, right? We knew Cody was going to show up. We knew CM Punk was back. Some tourney matches. Other than that, I knew this would kind of be just almost like a house show. It was going to be more for the live crowd, the troops. Some filler type stuff. But it would just be fun. It would be an entertaining night. So I didn't put too much stock into the night. I didn't have too much expectations for tonight. So I was just going to sit back and, knowing what this show was going to be, try to be entertained. I was. It was not a show it's not a show that I would rave about, but when I think about what is memorable, it's probably going to be Punk. Punk's promo was easily the show stealer, probably the week stealer. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, I think Punk stole the week. So he's already making a tremendous impact. Now it's just going to be interesting to see what him and Rollins do with that impact. That was SmackDown, guys. We're going to go to Monday Night Raw. Punk is going to sign his contract. We believe. He says he's going to call up Shawn Michaels and talk some NXT. He's going to talk to Nick Aldis. but he's going to make his decision Monday night, he said. So we'll see, man. We'll see what they do. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Slippery slope. You got to be careful. There are so many top baby faces right now. What do you do with them all with WrestleMania just months away? A lot of traveling to do this weekend, guys, but if something huge breaks, we'll find a way to break it to you guys until next time, and there will be that next time. Current situation, current status, we out.